All right, we're going to be going through this module here. First, we want to make sure that we're connected. Easy way of doing that, let me go and extend this real quick, is to go ahead and check our configurations here. So, first off, make sure that you're connected to the room's VPN. So you go to access, and from access, you go to networks, and make sure you're connected to the Region 80 network. Also, download the configuration file. You're not using the typical one, you're using a special one here. So, you have your different networks. And then try to connect to the VPN using OpenVPN, followed by your connection file, like I did here, right? Let's see here, should have done it on the very beginning, right here. So, and OpenVPN with that connection file. Make sure you do a sudo, and then refresh this right here, and it should show you're connected. All right, so once you're connected, then we're good to start moving forward. And next thing we're going to want to do is just make sure that we configure our network manager connection editor within Kali Linux. Over here, open up the terminal, sudo, and we'll just type this in nm connection editor. All right, once the connection editor is open, you're going to click on the wired connection, go to IPv4, and you'll see that you have this IP address here. Make sure you input it. So this is going to be the IP address for the DNS server, which in this case will be the server here at the very top. So 10.228.101. 10.228.101. Put it right here, IPv4 DNS, comma, 8.8.8.8.8. This is for Google. So we're going to use that server to resolve the names and the IP addresses. And we're going to use Google in the case that we're unable to resolve those names to IP addresses. Click save, close it, and you're done. Well, you could also go back, check, make sure it's inputted correctly if you're having any issues. All right, next course of action is to, let's see here. So if you're using their box, you'd be running this command, but we're not using their box. All right, so next what we'll do is we will go ahead and ping it, make sure that we're able to ping it. Go here, go up here. We'll just note that IP address for later. .1.0.1. All right. Copy. And we're working now. All right, cool. Another thing they said is if you're having issues with DNS, you can check the nano, let's see, solve config. And because this is in that location, you probably have to run sudo with it. All right, and you just want to make sure your name server is set to this. Okay. Okay, so everything should be working now. What we're going to do next is go ahead and start running through these. If you're still having issues, I'm going to go back to this. You can try and sudo system restart network manager. So you can restart the network manager as we made changes to it. Remember that. Remember how we made changes to the network manager? Oh, let me open up the terminal for that. That's not it. All right, I closed it, but I'll just retype it because I know people are probably having issues with this lab. So sudo, what was it? The connection manager that we're looking at, and then connection editor. All right, so remember you made changes here. IPv4, you put DNS information, you saved it, closed it. And if you're having issues, then you can try to run this command that would restart the network manager. Now I'm not going to do it for mine because when you do that, it will disconnect your network and then reconnect it. So I don't want to deal with that right now, but that's what you would do. You'd restart it. All right. All right, cool. So moving on. Got task 2, OSINT, open source intelligence, and then ways of gathering information. So you can just read through this portion right here. What popular websites can be used to verify email addresses and passwords that have been exposed? Have I been pwned? It's a good one. It's listed right there. All right, next. Task 3. We're doing NTLM, net NTLM. So you download the task file, transfer it to your Linux computer. Here you can see they give us a website, so we'll click on that. We'll go here. Actually, it's not it. This. Go to Chrome. Go to the website. All right, cool. So I've already done that one, but if you go to that website, what it should do is it should go ahead and close that out. It should prompt you for a login. And so you're gonna get prompt for a login like this, right? So this is one of the files they're gonna give you. It's what we're going to use. It's a Python file that we're gonna use to try and authenticate. And we're gonna do some password spraying here with that file. So we can simply just run the command that they give us here. So once you've downloaded the files, I've put them on here. I've named it AD. We got the password sprayer.zip. You can just right click and extract here. And when you extract here, you should have the files. Open up terminal from here, boom, and then paste over the command that they have. Right. It's pretty easy. Come over here, paste over the command that they have. You have your usernames.txt there, you have the correct information for the domain, and you need to run this as Python 3. All right, run it. And it looks like we're running into issue here. Let's see here, username.txt. FQD in. Okay. So what we can do is just take a look at that domain name we have there, and we got to set it correctly. Let me try doing that. We also use Hydra for this one. But we won't use Hydra for it. All right, so let's go here. ca.com. All right, let's try running Python. Yep, so it's getting done too. No, it's not working. It's username file. Username file, okay. Usernames.txt, okay. FQDN, and the attacker URL. Looks like we might be missing the attacker URL there. That's probably why it's not working for me. Okay. So go here and try to get that information. Ah, here we go. So it looks like it didn't copy all the way. No worries. Just grab that, copy it over here, drop it in there, and run it. Again, it's going to run into issues. So you're going to have to use Python 3 for this one. All right, so it's running. And it's got some valid credentials. So we got, at the end of this, we should get 4 valid credentials, and third one is going to be Gordon Stevens. So come here, NetNTLM, as we read in the very beginning, where it discusses NetNTLM. Right, Gordon Stevenson, 4 credentials, and when you authenticate, you get hello world. Okay, so when you authenticate, this is what you see. You could use Gordon Stevens credentials there. All right, moving on. We got task 4, blind credential, LDAP blind credentials. All right, so yes, you can use Responder, but Responder will give you the credentials which you still need to crack. So we'll do it using the method that they provide here. So copy the link address, go up here, should take you here. All right, go to your ifconfig, type ifconfig, reach AD, and you'll have your IP address there. Put your IP address in here, and it should reach out to your LDAP server. Now you can use this netcat command, but I'm already running LDAP, so it's gonna give me an error, right? And that's because I have programs running LDAP right now, so it's just not gonna work well for me. Okay. See, it's already in use, so it's gonna error out, but no worries, that's okay. That's okay, because it wouldn't work anyways, because once you connect via LDAP, it's gonna try to negotiate security, and there's no security, obviously. It's just a netcat listening. So why don't you just do this? Copy over this command right here. You can do a sudo update, but whenever I do an update, my Kali box just runs into issues. Wouldn't recommend it. So you can just do sudo apt-get install, and then just take this command here. If you need to update it, update it. But if you can run it without updating it, then you should be able to do that, right? So we're just grabbing the program and then we're installing it. Now, I already have it installed, so I'm not going to run this command, but you can run it and you should be good to go. Okay. Next, we're going to have to configure the slap SD. So come here, boom, drop that in, configure it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put in my password. All right. So now we're going to follow their instructions. So they say put no for this one. So enter za.tryhackme.com. Okay. Downward arrow, enter. Downward arrow, enter after you put in za.tryhackme.com. All right. Administrator password. So put in a password that you can remember. All right. Once you do that, go ahead and click no for this. We do not want to remove or purge the slapd. We do want to move it, so click yes for move old database, and we're done. We're configured there. So next, what we're going to do is we are going to continue following their instructions, and we're going to create this file. I already have it created, but you're just going to create it. So just go nano, name of the file, bam. Then it's going to be from here, copy and paste, grab this, copy it, paste it into your file, Control O as in October to save it, Control X to exit. There, yeah, enter, Control X. All right, cool. So now that we've created, we've configured it to use basically no authentications, no real security, so that we can see the password in plain text when we dump the network traffic. All next we got this command here, and we want to just run this. And upon looking at it, it looks like you run into an error, but you're not going to run into an error. That's because it just looks to be, looks can be deceiving. So it looks like it had some type of error, but it didn't. You're good. All right. Next, you're going to run this next command to verify it. And if you're watching this video, this is probably why you're watching it. Let me tell you something. All right. So when you run this command, you're actually not supposed to get anything. Right. And so if you're like me and you didn't read it properly, nope. If you're using Kali, you may not receive any output. Tells us everything we need to know. All right. Next, we're going to run this next command, and it's going to do the TCP dump. Could also use Wireshark, but I like TCP dump in this instance. Come here, boom, drop TCP dump in there, and run it. All right, looks like it's asking for my password. All right, TCP dump's running. So next thing we're going to do is I'm just going to go here and make sure that I close the previous TCP dump I have running. All right, so when I close that, then I come here, and when we run test settings, it will then try to authenticate. Hopefully this works properly. Yay. All right. And if we look through this, you can see that we've got some credentials here. So here's the password right there. Boom, got it. And so we've got the password come up here. Drop the password in there. Plain login was the configuration changes we made. All right, LDAP passback attack was used. And if you need more information on that, they provide more information at the very top about the LDAP passback attack. All right, great information. So I hope you enjoyed that video. This was going to be a short one, and we're going to do task 5, 6, 7, 8 in my next video. Stand by for those. I hope you enjoy this. I appreciate your support. It's because of your support that I am able to afford the TryAcme subscription so that I can continue to create these videos. So continue to like, share, comment, subscribe, as it greatly helps my channel. And if you're looking to complete the rest of these 80 rooms, you can do so with my consulting and assistance, where I'd walk you through exactly what you need to know, and we get through it together. All right. Have a good day. Danny out.
Hey everyone, today we're going to be going over step 5, authentication relay. You may notice change my IP address or the IP address changed to the domain controller here. And that's only because I've done this on separate days. So this is a continuation of the last video. However, I had to reset it, so it's a whole different IP address for the structure there. Regardless, you should be able to follow along with step 5, task 5, authentication relays. So sounds to me like we're going to be setting up a server message block file share, and then we're going to then collect an NTLM hash, which we'll then crack. We'll be utilizing Responder to set up this malicious, to set up the server, the SMB server. It's then going to collect the hash, right? And then this is the command we're going to use for hashcat to decrypt that hash. And then we should be able to get all the information we need to answer the questions here. You can already see the flags populated, but let's go ahead and go through how to get them. So that's the important part right there. And step 1, user sends NTLM negotiation, which the attacker intercepts with poisoning. The attacker forwards NTLM authentication on behalf of the user. The server responds with the NTLM challenge, and then it goes through the attacker. Attacker forwards the NTLM challenge to the user. And then 5, user sends a challenge response created by encrypting challenge with user's hash, attacker forwards challenge response, 7, server grants access, attacker sends access denied error, and they are able to access the server resources. So it's kind of like a man in the middle attack here. All right, so what is the name of the tool we'll use to poison and capture authentication requests on the network? That's going to be easy. It's responder. Let's go ahead and go through how to actually get through this lab. All right. So first thing we're going to do is just make sure everything's connected. And then I'm also going to be pulling up my notes for this previous tasker. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the terminal here. And then I'm going to type in sudo responder -I breach AD-V and press enter. It's going to ask me for the password here. And after I enter that password, then it should start our SMB server. Let's just verify that here. These are different servers that started. You can see SMB server is on. Okay. And let's see if we've captured anything. Nothing yet. Now it does state here that they have an automatic authentication request that's going to be poisoned every 30 minutes. So I don't know when's the last time it's run, but it may take a while for us to actually get that. For the meantime, what you can do is just go ahead and download the download task files. If you click that, it should allow you to download a password list. We'll go ahead and get that password list over to our attack box and get that all set up. So once we do capture something, we can start cracking. Now what I recommend is you make a hashes folder, and then you can go ahead and drop that password list here. Okay, so I went ahead and put the password list here. I have a hashes text here. This is probably from a previous engagement. But here you can see we have the hash. So what we're going to do is we're just going to copy this entire hash here. Okay. And then we're going to create a new hash list here. And we'll call it crack this .text. All right. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and drop that in here. Paste it in. Save it. And close it. All right. And now you can see that it's not just captured the hash, but it's also told us the username. So go ahead and copy that username and put it in for the answer to one of the questions, which was this one. We use responder, and now we're in the process of cracking the hash. Okay, it's telling us to use this command for the hash. So we'll go ahead and use that command to crack it. And now that we have crack this hash, the password list, we'll open a terminal from here. So open terminal here, rather than having to navigate through it. Hashcat -m. This is a 5600 NTLM hash that we'll be cracking. And if you want to see the code, you can take a look at Hashcat. They provide you the codes. You just ask what's the code for the NTLM hash, and it'll tell you 5600. All right. And I'm just typing in what they provided, but let me change this to crack this right here. So this needs to be crack this. All right, great. Everything looks good. Press enter, and it should start cracking. And it's gotten the password. Here's the password. And you can go ahead and put that password in for the challenge. Okay, so we're able to perform man in the middle attack, capture an TLM hash that was going to resolve to our SMB server, and then after that we cracked the SMB hash, the NTLM hash that was intercepted, and then now that we have the password, we can of course use that to access the resource. So this looks good, pretty easy. You're probably like, well, when else would I might use this? You might use this if you gain access to a user, you don't know their password, but you can send that request to your responder, and responder can intercept it and help you find out what the password is. All right, so next thing we have is the Microsoft Deployment Kit. This is the MDT and SCCM. Let's go ahead and take a look here at what this will encompass. So Pixie boots, of course, a way for systems to boot off of an image that is hosted by a server. In lamest terms. And it looks here like we are going to be creating a directory using TFTP, which is typically used for Pixie boot, or at least to get the images. And once we receive that image, here we're going to recover some credentials from the Pixie boot image. Okay. This one seems to be pretty step by step. Let me see if they provide us any resources. They do not. Okay. But they do tell us we need to go here to get, or well, it's being served up here. Looks like we're doing a TFTP on that, one of those config files. Okay, looks good. I'll go ahead and get set up here and walk you through the steps. So what we can do is look at this image here. So user sends DHCP, discover request, IP address, and Pixie service info. And then the DHCP server sends DHCP offer, sends OpenIP and PX service info. The user sends DHCP request, accepts IP address. The server sends DHCP acknowledge, and it's got an IP address at this point. And it performs boot service discovery with the MDT server. The server acknowledges sends Pixie boot information. The client requests Pixie boot via TFTP, and the server delivers Pixie boot via TFTP. And Pixie boot is an image that computer can boot off of, or yeah, it's a way for the computer to boot off of Pixie boot rather than booting off of the image that's maybe like installed on the computer. This can be useful for re-imaging. If you need to re-image a computer, you can have it boot off of Pixie boot, or if you have a computer that just doesn't have the OS, so it can request it. Really great for that, and routers and switches also use that as well, so they can boot off those images. Great when you're standardizing your images across the enterprise. So and easy, rather than having to send somebody to do it. You just boot off Pixie boot. Pretty easy. And we're using the Microsoft Deployment Kit, Microsoft Assist with automating the Microsoft OS for large enterprises, right? All right, cool. So now that we understand that, since DHCP is a little flimsy, they're going to skip all the steps right here with DHCP. We're just going to focus our attack on this MDT server and the request it makes for the Pixie boot. So we will perform the rest of the attack from this step manually. The first information regarding the Pixie boot configuration we have received via DHCP is the IP of the MSDT server. In this case, you can refer to the track diagram. So let's take a look at the track diagram. My MSDT server is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and annotate that on a little notepad. This is how I like to keep organized. So THM, MDT, 10.200.9.200.2. All right, cool. So the second piece of information you'll need to receive is the name of the BCD file. These files are stored in information relevant to the Pixie boot for the different types of architecture. To retrieve this information, you'll need to connect to this website. Okay, so we'll grab this, got the link, come over here at Firefox. So I'll just throw it in there. And here it is. So here we can see some image files, and we're looking for BCD files. Usually you'll use TFTP to request each of the BCD files and enumerate the configurations for all of them. However, in the interest of time, we'll focus on the BCD file of the x64 architecture, copy and store the full name of this file. The rest of the exercise, you'll use this name placeholder. So it's got the x64 architecture in it. So we'll take a look at those BCD files with x64 here. This one has x64. This one has x64. I think this is it right here. So it also has x64. I think it's just this one, only with the x64. Let me verify. Yeah, that seems to be it. Okay. So I guess we're focused on this one right here. Grab that one. Grab the name of it. Put that in a notepad. All right, go back over here. Okay. Since the files and their names are regenerated by MDT every day, each time you'll see the placeholder, remember to replace it with your specific BCD file. Note as well that if the network has just started, these files names will be updated after 10 minutes of the network being active. With this initial information now recovered from DHCP, wink wink, we can enumerate and retrieve the Pixie boot image. We'll be using our SSH connection on DIM-GEMP1 for the next couple of steps. So please authenticate to this SSH session using the following. All right, so we'll go ahead and authenticate to DIM1, the jump server. And let me just look at my network diagram. So where's our jump server? Here it is. So our jump server, we're connecting to the jump, which should allow us access to, I guess, the domain controller in this instance, I believe, but we will see. All right, so I'm gonna pull this up, open a new terminal, drop in my credentials, and PS, and supply the password. Copy that, go up here, drop that in, and we're in. Okay, to ensure that all users of the network can use SSH, start by creating a folder with your username and copy the Pixie boot repo into this folder. Okay. Got it. And they want us to do this from here. It's the jump server, what it sounds like. Yeah. All right. So from the jump server, we'll just start running these commands. I don't think this is from Kali, because if it was, then you would see Kali right here on the edge. You wouldn't see the users. So cd documents. All right. Make dir mando copy c power pixie mando cd username is gonna be mando first step we need to perform using TFTP and downloading our BCD files to read the configuration of the MSDT server. TFTP is a bit trickier than FTP since we can't list files. Instead, we send a file request and the server will connect back to us via UDP to transfer the files. Hence, we need to be accurate when specifying files and file paths. The BCD files are always located in the temp directory of the MSDT server. We can initiate the TFTP transfer using the following command in our SSH session. Okay, come over here, grab this. And don't need that. All right, let's come over here, grab this. I think what we'll do is put this on the side right here. Okay, TFTP IP address of the MDT server. Copy that in there from my notepad. Get caps. Oh, whoops. Get quote temp. I don't think case matters, but and then the name of the file, which is okay. Put that right there. All right, so now we'll run the command. So the transfer was successful. You will have to look up them MDT with the NS with the MC BCD file now recovered. We'll be using Pixie to read its contents. Pixie is a PowerShell script that automatically forms this type of attack, but usually with varying results. So it's better for us to perform a manual approach. We'll use the get win file function of PixieX to recover the location of the Pixie boot image from the BCD file. Okay. Okay. All right. So run this. All right. So we're bypassing the execution policy. And then we're going to import documents. It looks like we are supposed to be in our folder. Okay, so we are in our folder. We're in the Mando folder. We're analyzing the Pixie boot file. We're using this power Pixie to enumerate the Pixie boot for passwords, is what it sounds like to me. All right, I'm just running all these commands here. And if you run all those commands, you should get the same output, which is identified win file right there. And we're looking for the cf.bcd. Win files are bootable images in the Windows image format, WIM. Now that we have the location of the Pixie boot image, we can again use TFTP to download this image. Okay, so now we have the location. We can use it to download it. So we'll just manually jot in that command. All right. So do TF TP -I 10 209. You gotta get your notepad for this one. The MSDT. All right. Get. And you can put the Pixie boot image location. It's right here. Quote, and then Pixie boot. Make sure you type it. I'll show you what it looks like in a bit. Let me just type this in real quick. Okay, pixieboot.wim, so it should look like that. TFTP -I. Pixieboot.wim at the end. Okay. So grab that. These files are a little bit large, so they can take some time. Let's see how long it took them. 120 seconds. Huh. Theirs happened really quick, so maybe I'm running into an issue here. The download will take a while since you're downloading a full bootable and configuration Windows image. Maybe stretch your legs and grab a glass of water while you wait. Okay, agreed. Yeah, so it usually takes a while. So, next we'll just read through this. So now that we have recovered the Pixie boot image, we can exfiltrate the stored credentials. It should be noticed that there are various attacks that we could stage. We could inject a local administrator, so we have admin access. As soon as the image boots, we can install an image to have the main join machine. If you are interested in learning more about these attacks, you can read this article. This exercise will focus on a simple attack that just attempts to exfiltrate the credentials. Again, we'll use PowerPixie to recover the credentials, but we could also do this step manually by extracting the image and looking for the bootstrap.ini file. These type of credentials are often stored, so use PowerPixie to recover credentials from the bootstrap file, running the following commands. All right, so we're gonna run this command here, and then it's going to find the information we need. So, well, that's still going. What Microsoft tool is used to create and host Pixie boot images in an organization? The Microsoft Deployment Toolkit, the MSDT server. What network protocol is used for recovery of files from MSDT server? TFTP can be used to recover those files from the server and get the files. What is the username associated with the account that's stored in the Pixie boot image? We'll find out very quickly. That's going to be the SV MSDT. What is the password associated with the account that you store the Pixie boot image? And it's Pixie boot secure 1. Well, you should make sure to clean up the user directory that you just created for your task. If you try, you will notice that you get access denied error. Don't worry, a script will happen. Will help with the cleanup process. But remember, when you are doing assessments, always perform cleanup. Okay, so it looks like it's completed. It's got the file. And it took 155 seconds, which I felt was much longer. All right, so let's go ahead and grab those credentials. Oh, no, that's not what we wanted. Credentials. Okay, so we're running get find credentials on this file. Open your Pixie boot, it's running. Well, let's run, I'll come back over here. All right, and looking here, we got the credentials for the user right there, right? And we've got the password right here. Now this is really bad because if you had the ability to grab an image like this, you can install it on a computer that's not on the domain. You could possibly add it to the domain since it'll have an image for the domain. And it will be running off DHCP, which will have an IP address for the domain. And on top of that, you have the credentials, right, for the admin, so you could actually install that image. And you could have this computer that's, connected to the domain, and have the credentials, and enumerate further, and possibly find the domain admin credentials needed. Not good. All right, so, and then there's probably password reuse, right? So not good. All right, so next we'll be looking at test 7 configuration files. All right, so we'll go ahead and download this. I'm gonna take a quick peek at what we're doing here. Looks like we're looking in different locations to find and transfer database files that house credentials and using some Python script to decrypt those credentials. All right, this is a good ending. We'll go ahead and download the file and get the file over to your attack box. Okay. I'll go ahead and start just closing some of these things out because, got the information we needed from them. Clean it up for the next exercise real quick. All right, it's looking good. And we've got this configuration file. I'm just gonna transfer it over. You can transfer it over. All right, so I just put that file here inside of my hashes folder, and we'll read through this. So the last enumeration avenue will explore the network in configuration files. Suppose we're lucky enough to cause a breach that gave us access to a host on the network. In that case, configuration files are an excellent avenue to explore in attempt to recover AD credentials depending on the host that was breached. Various configuration files may be of value for enumeration. Web application configuration, servers files, registry keys, central deployed applications. 7 enumeration scripts such as CBEL can be used to automate this process. All right, cool. Configuration file credentials. However, we'll focus on recovering credentials from essentially deployed application as tasks. Usually these applications need a method to authenticate to the domain during both the installation and execution phase. Example of such application is the McAfee Enterprise Endpoint Security, which organization can use as endpoint detection and response tool for security. McAfee embeds the credentials during the installation to connect back to the orchestrator in a file called the MADB. The database file can be retrieved and read with local access to the host to recover the associated AD service accounts. We will use the SH server on jump 1 for this exercise. The MADB file is stored in this following location. Okay, so C, MADB, and stored there. We use SCP copy to copy the MADB to our attack box. Okay, so this is really the command you need to run. So we'll be asked for the password. So the password for that was stored in the last exercise. So just grab that password real quick because I don't remember it. It's right here. And grab that password. I'm gonna put my notepad, drop that password in there. All right, go back over here, and then we'll run that. Okay, so it's telling us where the file is. We don't have to go and go looking at it. We know the path there. They're telling us where it is. That's the default location of these MADB files. And we'll just pretend we enumerated, we found the file. We're not transferring it over to our computer, and we're going to gain access. So we'll open a terminal from here. run the SCP. This is going to connect to the jump server that will essentially connect to the data to the domain controller. Oh, looks like we're running into an issue here. SCP. Huh. All right, let me click this command. Oh, I see. Okay. So I think it's because I'm missing a dot at the end of it. Let me just see. There we go. All right, then it's gonna ask, and the dot saying put this file in our folder here in this location. That's what the dot is for, saying put here. All right, I'll grab the password that we got earlier from the for the jump server. This is for the jump server. Throw that in there. It's transferred. Boom, and now it should be here, right there. All right, so. All right, so to read the database file, we'll use a tool called SQLite Browser. We'll open the database using the following commands. So we're gonna run this command. I don't know if I even have this installed. I'm probably gonna have to install it, but run it from the directory that we're in. And see if it works. Hey, there it is. All right, cool. And then now we'll go browsing and looking at the focus on the agent repository table. So if you click here, show you agent repository, I'll double click it. And what do we do next here? We are particularly interested in the second entry on the domain auth user, auth password entry fields to make note of values stored in these entries. However, the auth password field is encrypted. Luckily, McAfee encrypts this field with a known key. Therefore, we'll use the following old Python 2 script to decrypt the password. The script has been provided as a downloadable task file on the attack box. It can be found in this directory here. I guess that's if you're using their tool. If not, you have to download it from here. You will have the unzip McAfee site password decrypt file. Okay, so you have to unzip that. All right, so what we'll do is we will take a look at the agent repository, domain auth user, where's the domain auth user, domain password, click here. Okay, so it's encrypted. Can't view it, wow, okay. So, do here is we'll come here. Grab this tool first. We'll grab this tool. Come over here. Get. Oh, snaps. I'll have to open another directory because that's doing its thing. All right. So just hashes. Open up another terminal. Git clone. Drop that in there. Go ahead and grab that. So we have a script here. Grab that script here, drop it in here. All right, and then next we will unzip the McAfee encryption file there. Over here, drop this command. Unzip the McAfee site passwordless encryption. Is it the same? Is it the same tool? It is the same tool. Okay, so it looks like they provide you the tool, but if you wanted to download it, you could do the get command I just ran. So same thing, right? By providing the script with our base64 encoded and encrypted password, the script will provide the decrypted password. Okay. Mhm. Authentication password value. Okay, so what we'll do here, I've done this one before, I just forgot how to do it, but go over here. I think it has, let me see if it has the password right here. There's a way for you to view it. Let's see if I can view it. Alright. Alright, so view schema. Alright, let me try to get it open. What I did. Alright, good thing I kept notes on this one. So right click this, browse table, and right, you got that? Right click it, you browse the table, okay? And then after that, then you have the file, you have the table here, and you should be able to see the different values. Here we have the name. See if we can find the, oh, that looks like a password. This is a password right here. So that's the value we need. It is encrypted. Okay, so that's what we need here. So we'll grab this, copy it, and then we'll come back over here. Actually, go back to my, and then I just had open this one. All right, and then we'll run the Python script on it. So Python 2, Cafe, sites. All right, and I just used the power of auto populate to populate that. And then the authentication value. So just drop in the authentication value. And it looks like we ran into an issue with that. Let me look at my notes, make sure this is good. Okay. Looks like it's having an issue with the Python 2 maybe. Let me try Python 3. Nope. Python? Okay. Maybe there's a reason why that script didn't work. Let me look into this one. All right, so I'm so glad this one actually worked. I had to do some troubleshooting. I feel like I always need to do troubleshooting with try hack me. But you know, looking into this issue a little further, it looks like you know, some people have issues with the error receiving module not found crypto. And so I guess my Python 2 didn't have this module. So I had to install it with easy install. Actually, no, that wasn't it. It was this one right here. pip3 install pycrypto dom or whatever. I'll post this in the description. So useful stuff like this can go in the description. And then another thing you're going to want to do is to make sure that you have it in single quotes like this, because that's the format it needs it in. So the single quote right there. And then when you run it, I had to run mine as a executable. So I did chmod to make it executable. And then I ran this command here. So that's, so you install the crypto module, you make the file executable, and then you run the file as an executable instead of with Python, which I don't think it matters. I think you run it with either or and it should work at that point because you installed the module. Anyways, here's the password. And I'm so glad this actually worked. Because I know there's other tools, maybe John can be used for this, but it's just one of those things where I kind of want to use what they got. So there it is right there, my strong password, as we cracked it right here. And all right, cool. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I did a full walkthrough. We didn't skip any steps. We didn't stop and stop showing you any hashes or how to get them, because that's all a part of the experience. All right, so let's look here. A significant amount of attack avenues can be followed to breach AD. We covered some of those commonly seen being used during a red team exercise in this network. Due to the sheer size of the attack surface, new avenues to recover that first set of AD credentials are consistently being discovered. Building a proper enumeration methodology and continuously updating it will be required to find initial pairs of credentials. So some of the mitigations here is user awareness and training, right? Limiting AD services and application online, enforce network access controls so you don't just have rogue devices connecting to your network. Enforce SMB signing, so you want to use a stronger version of SMB, and follow the principle of least privileges. That way, maybe don't have everybody with no, everyone doesn't have access to the jump server. Obviously, that's not a good idea in the AD server. So yeah, that's how we breached it, guys. And question done. You should see some confetti falling down and raining on you. I completed this one a while back, but if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, support the channel, and I will be sure to create more videos. All right, I hope you enjoyed it. Danny out.